I mean, when I was in the Mossad, and we had a guy that gave us problems in the U.S., and he was speaking out, and he was talking like Pete talked once and said, Israel is bombing Lebanon with cluster bombs. We say, hey, who's that guy? You know? Pete Makaki, we used to call him. Yeah, which is Pete the cockroach. Because he makes a lot of noise and you can't get rid of him. So what you do is you get in touch with a guy in the station in New York or in the station in Washington. You say, tell the guys at B'nai B'rith to label him. And of course the campaign starts, and before you know it, the guy's labeled. And he's an anti-Semite. Because that's what we say he is. And that's one stain you cannot wash. Now, it shames me as a Jew to tell you that. But that's the fact. And it's wrong.
Very honest. We've been seeing a lot of that as of late, as we start asking questions, meaningful questions that we deserve the answers to, particularly as it deals with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Anyways, Victor claims that regarding Robert Maxwell, quote, the Mossad financed many of its operations in Europe with money that was stolen from Maxwell's newspaper's pension fund. They got their hands on the funds almost as soon as Maxwell bought the Mirror, his newspaper group, with money that was loaned to him by the Mossad. I'm sorry, just to slow that down and make sure you understand, what he is saying is the Mossad gave him the money to go ahead and buy the Mirror Group Publishing. And then the moment that he got it, they took all of the pension fund money and they spent it so that they could fulfill clearly Israel's interests, robbing pension funds to support Israel. Back to Ghislaine, because she is the daughter of a Mossad agent. There's no question about that. Robert Maxwell was her father, and the Mossad does not deny that Robert Maxwell was an agent, and therefore the most obvious link between Epstein and the Mossad would be Ghislaine. Because the news story that's emerging is that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell met in the 90s, right? So they're saying that news story because Robert Maxwell was already dead. That thereby deletes any possibility that Epstein could have been connected to the Mossad via Robert Maxwell. He really just genuinely met Ghislaine Maxwell in the 90s. And I really hate to destroy that narrative. Actually, I'm lying. I don't really hate to destroy that narrative. I actually just hate liars. But here we go. This is a guy I'd like to introduce you to. His name is Ari Ben Menashe. He's a man who claimed to have had several meetings with Jeffrey Epstein in Robert Maxwell's office all throughout the 80s. Like a decade before the media is telling you Ghislaine met Epstein. Ari Ben Menashe would certainly know, considering he worked for the Mossad, and he even spent time in prison due to his work for the Mossad because he got caught being an agent for Israel. So I'm going to show you this clip, and credit here to the work, tremendous work, and we'll credit people along the way here, of Whitney Webb, 𝗧𝗿𝗱𝗶𝗁, these people who have been on this Epstein story for years. Well, 𝗧𝗿𝗱𝗶𝗁 has a podcast called Narrative, and he interviewed Ari Ben Menashe in 2019. I'm going to show you a couple of these clips. If you're listening to this on audio, it might be difficult for you to decipher if you're not reading along, but it's okay because I'm going to break down everything after. Here is the first clip. And again, this is Ari, who is speaking with 𝗧𝗿𝗱𝗶𝗁. Take a listen.
So Maxwell introduces you. He says, here's this young guy. Yeah. And did he go by the name Jeffrey Epstein, or did he go by a different name?
I remember Epstein and Jeff Epstein.
Okay. Because he had a different passport that he was traveling in and out of.
That's right. Yeah, but that came later.
Okay. So he says to you, here's this guy Jeffrey Epstein, who I know from around.
And your Israeli bosses have approved.
Oh, okay.
Already approved.
So it came down from up above. So what did he do? Can you say what he did for you? Or like what kind of work did you guys do together?
No, he didn't do anything.
Oh, so you met him and that was it?
I met him a few times in Maxwell's office. That was it.
And did he do any arms deals for anybody else that you were aware of?
Not that I know.
Because there's the I guess it was an
he didn't.
MI5 operation.
He wasn't very competent. He didn't seem to be a competent guy. He didn't seem to be. But he was a good-looking guy. And Miss Maxwell,
Ghislaine,
fell for him.
Early, 1980s.
So he is describing how he met Jeffrey Epstein in Robert Maxwell's office, and he is making it clear that he was with Ghislaine. He thinks Ghislaine loved Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm going to let you listen to another clip where he describes how both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine were agents for Israel. Take a listen.
She got involved with Israeli intelligence together with him.
Right.
But not in this arms deal in Iran or business.
Would you say she was an agent as well? Was she someone working for Israeli intelligence?
Oh, definitely.
Military intelligence as well?
Yes.
And when that happens, because I have no idea how that world works, so I'm learning a little bit.
It happened by accident.
Do you get orders and you have to do certain things, or is it more like...
No, you get projects. What really happened, my take on it, and the later thing, is that these guys were seen as agents, but they weren't really competent to do very much. And so they found a niche for themselves, blackmailing American and other political figures.
For the Israelis? So it's hard for people to understand why Israel would want to get blackmail on an American. I'm asking a question that I can answer it quite probably, but for most people it's hard for them to think about Israel as being blackmailing their leaders in the United States. It's a very...
It was quite their MO. See, sleeping around is not a crime. Maybe embarrassing, but not a crime. But sleeping with underage girls is a crime.
Now, 𝗷𝗍𝗄𝗏 is very clearly stating that they found a niche. The two of them were not competent, but they found a niche, and that was collecting blackmail on American politicians, that they were able to do this. They were facilitating this blackmail, and therefore they were valuable. They became valuable to the Mossad because they were able to get blackmail. Again, this is coming from 𝗷𝗍𝗄𝗏, who is now an Israeli-Canadian citizen who worked for the Mossad in arms deals. And that is the reason why he says that he met with Epstein in Robert Maxwell's office. 𝗷𝗍𝗄𝗏's meeting with Epstein in Robert Maxwell's office in London dates back to the Iran-Contra scandal